Record now. Prynhawn da, bawb, a chroeso i'r session Haf DPP olaf hon. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the last summer of CPD session. Ar ran y tîm cymorth i ysgolion gyda ieithoedd rhwngwladol yma yn Prifysgol Abertawe, hoffwn ddiolch i chi gyd am fynychu webinar heddiw. So on behalf of the International Languages School Support Team here at Swansea University, I'd like to thank you all for attending today's webinar. Mae'n sesiynau Haf DPP wedi datblygu yn dilyn digwyddiadau ieithoedd rhwngwladol ar gyfer disgyblion ysgol, a gynhaliwyd eleni ar gampws y Prifysgol gyda chefnogaeth gan Llywodraeth Cymru. So our summer of CPD events have been developed following the university's international language events for school pupils, which have taken place this past academic year with support from the Welsh Government. A big diolch. Ac rydym wrth ein moddau yn bod ni wedi gallu cynnig cyffres o 5 sesiwn DPP ar-lein a gynllwyniwyd a gynllwyniwyd o amgylch i'r adborth a'r casgliadau a dderbynwyd gan athrawon. So we are delighted that we are able to offer a series of 5 online CPD sessions designed around the feedback and requests received from teachers. So croeso i'r sesiwn olaf gyda mewn bwn Hugh Davies o e-sgol a fi ar sut mae hwyrwyddo ieithoedd. So welcome to the last session with input from Hugh Davies from e-sgol and from me on how to promote languages. Guten Tag, Hugh. Bonjour. Shomai, thank you for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Pnawn da, diolch yn fawr iawn, Christiane. Ynganu arbennig o'r Gymraeg yn fanna, chwarae teg i chi. Fel ddywedodd Christiane, Hugh Davies ydw i, arweinydd cynradd e-ysgol. Mi fyddai'n cyflwyno yn benna yn Saesneg heddiw, ond os fyddwch chi am gysylltu gyda fi mewn unrhyw ffordd, mae croeso i chi ddefnyddio'r Gymraeg yn amlwg. So as Christiane mentioned, my name is Hugh Davies and I work at e-ysgol. And as I share my screen here, and I hope someone will give me a quick thumbs up just to let me know that that has worked. And I'll just adjust my layout here as well. Can everyone see my screen? Fantastic. I'm just going to play a very short video for you to give you the idea of what we're about at e-ysgol.
Like most children, Lottie starts her school day with an assembly. But with e-sgol, this isn't just any assembly. Our provision connects children from across Wales, ensuring equity in education through technology. Our content is engaging, interactive, and free to access for all schools. No student should be defined by their location. Our goal is to provide an equitable education for every learner right across the country. e-sgol opens doors to a broader curriculum, like this German lesson led by an experienced educator, while the class teacher ensures learners get the most out of the opportunity. Every lesson and event is recorded and saved, ready to access at any time, meaning teachers can easily revisit and reinforce learning from an e-sgol session. Another highlight for Lottie is the e-Steddfod, allowing schools to compete against each other.
Anti oil and tea and Goodwin Lucas. Cyclists in a party
showcasing e-sgol's passion to enrich the cultural experiences of learners. Find out how e-sgol are shaping the future for all learners in Wales. e-sgol, equity in education through technology.
So, As the sign-off said there at the end of the video, we at e-sgol aim for equity in education through technology. And we aim to provide that equity in education by upskilling teachers and learners, supporting schools to enhance their choice for learners, and promoting collaboration between schools. And in the primary sector specifically, we do that by providing streams of projects, I suppose, starting there the top left with the Expanding Horizons project, and just to really spell out how we provide our sessions, we do like to put an E and a hyphen at the beginning of our project titles where possible. But our Expanding Horizons project is for more able and talented learners. We work with universities and different organisations to provide access to lecturers and different specialists in certain areas, and learners interact with the content with their own individual devices such as laptops and use software such as Mentimeter. We also have a science and technology project, which is an inquiry-based project where classrooms join the sessions and follow the step-by-step guides of how to hold a successful scientific inquiry. And the title or subtitle for this project is actually Lessons for the Learner, CPD for the Teacher, because we view it as a viable way of introducing new teaching techniques. We also have a Welshness stream, which includes various projects. We have Quiz Cymru, which we put in place with the National Library for Wales, Museum Wales, the Books Council for Wales, Radio Cymru, and so on for different aspects of Welsh culture. We also have the e-Steddfod, which you saw briefly there on screen in the video, which is exactly what it says on the tin, a virtual e-Steddfod where schools compete against each other from their sites using Teams. We also have a Link and Learn package, which for broad strokes purposes, the description I'd probably use is something along the lines of a whole school assembly at timely intervals during the academic year. So, for instance, we held one for Safer Internet Day, which was very popular, discussing themes to do with AI and responsible and safe use of AI. And the project that we're here today, obviously, to discuss and learn about is our International Languages project, where you can see there we provide German, Spanish, and French sessions. We aim to provide all of our sessions through Microsoft Teams and the Hub platform, because obviously every teacher and classroom has free access to those pieces of software. And we try and make things as plug and play as possible for teachers so that there are no barriers to them accessing the provision. And this is the timetable, if you like, that we've used for this year. It was a cycle of Spanish, German, and French, as you'll see. So we started the year by providing Spanish sessions and then revisited Spanish during the fourth half term. German then occurred during half term 2 and 5, with French sessions taking place during half term 3 and 6. And those are the languages that we target, thinking that they're probably the most useful and beneficial to learners at the top of primary school years 5 and 6, as they're probably the most likely languages to be studied at the beginning of secondary school, so that we're forming that pathway for learners to provide a footing for them before they enter secondary school. So these are how the sessions look from the classroom's perspective. So you'll see here the image at the top left of a whole class taking part in the session, and that big large screen behind the teacher is very important, obviously, because that's how the sessions are delivered to the classroom via the big screen or the clever touch or whatever you might have in your individual classrooms. From the classroom's perspective, cameras and microphones are turned off just due to the amount of classes that join. It's to ensure that no unwanted interruptions occur during the sessions. We also record every session and place them on YouTube, because obviously primary school timetables tend to be very, very busy, and during our timetabled lessons, something might occur. Obviously, we're at that time of the year where there's a lot of sports days and Mabolgampau and school trips. So if something does occur on the day of a lesson, classes are able to catch up then in their own time. We hold modules during 4 weekly sessions. So you'll have seen there on the previous slide that we've visited each of the languages twice, so there are 8 lessons already accessible on YouTube that have been recorded this year. The main part of the session will last somewhere between 25 to 30 minutes, and then there are additional elements at the end of the session, which I'll discuss further now in a minute, which will take them closer to 3/4 of an hour if you're joining the sessions live. So this is how the session will look in terms of format and pedagogy, I suppose. Roughly speaking, they do vary from time to time, but in general, we will begin the sessions, as you can see here, with a greeting. We will always have an expert provider, such as Christiane, who's on screen with me today, providing the German sessions, and Haf, who provides French and Spanish sessions. We'll greet the audience, greet each other, and if any schools have sent us clips of themselves undertaking any of the language learning, we'll celebrate those clips at the beginning of a session during our Stars of the Week or Ser yn yr Wythnos element. Then the teacher will take over, if you like. So in this instance, we've got a German speech bubble, so I'll use Christiane as my example. And Christiane will usually teach myself as a member of staff from e-sgol. So there's always 2 adults on screen, our German or language provider, Christiane in this case, and then myself from e-sgol. We're there to facilitate the technological aspects of the session, but also to act as a proxy for the classroom and to enhance our own language learning. So Christiane will use me as her guinea pig during German sessions so that learners know when to interact with the content as well. But we'll also end each chapter within a lesson, I suppose, with intentional work windows where classes will be given 2 to 3 minutes to practice the new vocabulary that's just been presented. We also like to end the live sessions with Kahoot quizzes. They're very, very popular amongst primary school learners, as I'm sure we're all aware. They'll usually last somewhere between 8 to 10 questions to consolidate the learning that's taken place during the live aspect of the session. And we'll also provide ideas for challenges so that the learning can continue following the live session and be consolidated by the classroom teacher. And those are the aspects that we use for the Stars of the Week element. So it's a bit of a cycle, I suppose, from one lesson to the next. So now we've got some short clips just to give you an idea of how these sessions work. And this first one is of Haf performing one of the songs that she composed for the French session. So I'll just make sure that I'm on mute for this short.
Au revoir, salut et ciao. Au revoir, salut et ciao. Au revoir, salut et ciao. Au revoir, à la prochaine.
There we are. I'll end that there because it's quite a repetitive song and it continues following that part. And we do encourage learners and classrooms then to use these songs that we've provided. Christiane has also recorded similar songs for the German sessions, which are repetitive by nature and encourage the learners to learn them quickly. And we now have a clip of one of the classrooms who sent us a recording of themselves performing the same song as Keiki. I think they were enjoying themselves, it's safe to say, isn't it? And we do, beg your pardon, we do provide recordings with a vocalist, but also just without the vocalist, a variety of different versions of these tracks. But it's very nice to see schools and classrooms being creative as well, and the teachers getting involved, because obviously we could hear that someone was playing guitar there for that version. So lovely to see the different versions of these songs. And now back moving into the German sessions, we have some other popular aspects from the session. So to begin with, I'll show you a short clip of Nora. Nora is a friend of Christiane who provides us recordings of the different pieces of vocabulary that are introduced during each lesson. So I'll play this first clip for you now so that you get the idea of how these clips work.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag, Nora. Perfect. And then we have one other video giving us a bit more information about herself. So she's going to tell us that she's 10, that she's from Germany, and she asks you where you're from.
Hallo, ich bin Nora. Ich komme aus Deutschland. Ich bin 10. Und du? Tschüss.
So it's reported by teachers that that element of these sessions is very popular, that learners like to see someone of their own age helping them learn the new language, and that it adds a level of authenticity to the sessions. And we're very glad that Nora is happy to help us in that regard. Next, we'll move on to Christiane modelling a conversation with myself before we ask classrooms to go and practice that conversation themselves.
Hallo,
Guten Morgen.
ich bin Hugh. Und du?
Ich bin Christiane.
Tschüss.
Auf Wiedersehen. Now, you have time to practice with your partners in class. We give you, I think, it's eine Minute. Is that correct, Hugh? Eine
That's right.
Minute, 1 minute. So speak to each other, introduce each other into German, try the formal and the less formal way. Hallo, guten Morgen, tschüss, auf Wiedersehen, and find a partner and talk to each other in German. You have 1 minute and the timer will be starting now. Viel Spaß. Have fun.
So it's a very useful tool to be able to place that stopwatch on the screen and ask learners to maybe discuss with a partner, but we also encourage them in different tasks to go for a walk around the classroom and discuss maybe with 3 or 4, and we give them a target to try and speak to as many learners as possible and model the conversation. It's also reported that it's very popular when Christiane or Lleuki corrects me on screen when I make a very unintentional mistake. But it's also quite a handy way of showing the teachers and the learners that it's okay to make a mistake when you're learning new languages. And Christiane is very good at being friendly and polite when she does correct me, I have to say. And then on the right-hand side at the bottom here, you'll see the kind of challenges that we set at the end of the session. So we always provide a simple worksheet and encourage classrooms to create a collage about themselves using the different vocabulary from each session. If they do post on social media, we encourage them to use hashtags or to tag us so that we can find them for our Stars of the Week elements. And we also provide the Kahoot quiz once again so that they're able to play it again in real time and practice further. So it's reported to us, as I mentioned, that these sessions are very popular. You'll see on the left-hand side here the initial project and pilot that we put in place with the Goethe Institute for 4 weeks again at the end of 2024. 33 teachers sent us their feedback from these 76 classes from 58 schools, and these then are average scores for each area that we asked about. So it was reported that learners really enjoyed, and that's why we scored 9 out of 10, I suppose, for enjoyment. But it was really positive to see that this was a viable way of introducing a new language, as was displayed by this 8.8 out of 10 for retention of learning. And also we asked very simply of teachers, did these sessions make you more confident to present this kind of session yourself in future? And every teacher replied that they did, providing that 100% score. We then moved forward into 2024-25 and produced another German language pilot with the numbers increasing once again. And this particular pilot was picked up on by Estin during a thematic report, who reported that the structured and interactive lessons engage pupils through songs, online quizzes, and live sessions, making learning fun and accessible. And then this year, we've developed further by co-working, as I mentioned, with Christiane Günther, and the numbers and feedback have gotten better and better. So you'll see here on the left-hand side, the numbers of learners and classes that have been registered across the 2 modules across the year, so 6,468 learners from 242 schools, and those scores for enjoyment and retention of learning have also grown. It's also very encouraging to see that we've managed to find at least one school from each local authority across the country to register for these modules. As you'll see, there's one there in Merthyr Tydfil, but also that the sessions are quite popular in more rural areas like Powys. You'll see the 21, and Carmarthenshire 26, etc., etc. And then on the right-hand side, the common themes that are picked up on when teachers provide us with feedback. Again, much of which I've discussed already. And it's very encouraging to see that upward trend in German being registered for by primary schools. Obviously, it's been an area of increased focus in the Welsh curriculum recently. So it's lovely to see that we have this upward trend from one year to the next in terms of numbers of classes joining us for these sessions. So that's it, quite the whistle-stop tour for this presentation. If you do want to get in touch, you're more than welcome to do so. Fedrwch chi ddefnyddio'r Gymraeg mwyn cyfathrebu â mi yn amlwg. Os hoffech chi holi unrhyw gwestiynau neu cofrestru. Mi wna I hefyd ddarparu'r dolenni cofrestru gyda Christiane mwyn rhannu gyda unrhyw un sydd wedi cofrestru ar gyfer y sesiynau. I will also provide registration forms with Christiane so that she's able to send them on to anyone who may wish to use them. But for now, that's all from me, and I'll hand back to Christiane. Well, I think you might be on mute, Christiane.
Yes, I am. Hugh, thank you very much. It is so fantastic to see how international languages are promoted in the primary sector through e-sgol. And it's so fascinating to see that you reach all the different parts of the country. And that is going to be our next topic now, is on how to promote languages. And I'm going to share my screen now as well. Just a second. Right, I'm going to put it on gallery view. And before I start with the promoting languages, just a quick reminder that these were the 5 sessions that we offered for the summer of CPD or Haf DPP this year. So if anybody is interested in following a session that they weren't able to attend live, please get in touch, register for the sessions, and we are more than happy to provide you with a link to watch all of the recordings. And we're going to also forward any kind of slides, links, or information, or the registration forms that you just mentioned to you, no problem at all. Now, promoting languages. I think the first part is to say yes to languages. And this is a really good example of how to say yes in many, many different languages. And we're going to talk today a little bit more about what resources are available, what we can bring into the classroom, and how we can reach out for support. So by convincing senior management, and this, I guess, is the first part of to convince schools of focusing a bit more of languages, is probably science and scientific evidence. And just a couple of days ago, there was this article in The Guardian that learning another language appears to slow brain aging. And isn't that fantastic for anybody now picking up another language? Please have a read at this article. It's very fascinating, the study. There are so many benefits of obviously learning languages at any age, but this is a good one. So when looking at language promoting materials, I know many of us will certainly access the website of the wonderful Cultural Institute. And I'm just going to quickly stop here and share again. Something has gone wrong. Just 1 second. So there we go. Right. Let me just go to the right screen now. and enlarge. I clicked on a little file and suddenly my slides were gone. So when we are looking at promoting languages, there are wonderful resources available by the various language-specific cultural institutes, for example, the Goethe Institute, the Institut Français, and the Conserjería for Spanish. But today I'm going to show you some other projects and initiatives that provide amazing resources to be used in the primary as well as the secondary classroom. And we're going to start with one that is provided by Cardiff University, or situated at Cardiff University, the MFL mentoring team. This is their website, and the fantastic thing about them that they provide the resources both in English and Welsh, which obviously the cultural institutes are not able to offer. When you click on teacher resources, you can select primary and secondary schools, and they have combined a variety of topics, including names, clocks, lunches around the world, calendars, money, biscuits, algebra, and so on. And all those categories are available or are filled with PowerPoint slides, informations, videos, background information, combining arts, history, all different aspects of life with languages. And obviously all those topics are available bilingually, both in English and Welsh. And what is very, very useful, I found, is why learn languages, pam dysgu iaith. There are 2 PowerPoints available. If you download them on your desktop, they come with notes that describe exactly what the content of each slide is. Very useful if you have to convince governors, if you have to convince senior management. So please have a look at those PowerPoint slides. Celebrate the European Day of Languages. I think it's on the 26th of September. Obviously, languages should not be celebrated on one specific day only. It should be part of the whole year. However, the Council of Europe has provided a plethora of resources that we can use in the classroom. And this is their slogan, European Day of Languages. And what is fantastic about those resources, they are available in all the different languages that are part of the EU. So you have, for example, my favorite, and thank you to Ariane for reminding me of that resource again, the Secret Agent's Handbook of Language Challenges. And not only is this book available in English, but also in German, French, and Spanish, for example. This is a wonderful resource, not only to be used specifically on the Day of European Languages, but it could be a challenge to complete this handbook for a term or for an entire school year. You can copy and paste various activities in the various languages as well, so you can make your own multilingual version of it. And it's doable challenges for every age. So I highly recommend using this when promoting languages. Also available is Lara's language journey. So Lara is discovering the languages around Europe. She doesn't go to the country. She goes to the region where a specific language is spoken. And again, these materials are not only available in English, but in all the different languages that are spoken in Europe. So those are the different codes. Lara is visiting Welsh as well. And one idea could be for the classroom, for the pupils to do their own language information for Lara to use. I think for Wales at the moment, they use the very, very long word of a specific station in Anglesey, but perhaps this could be a fun project to do for the region where the pupils are from. You could use it in any language you would like. They could write it in the language that are learning. Also on the European Day of Languages website, you can find quite fun resources. For example, the different sounds the animals make. And we know that when we are pronouncing new words or when we are learning a new language, we can be quite shy. I'm super shy in pronouncing new words in Welsh, for example, but it could be something fun to try out those noises the animals make in various languages. It could even be used in a parent evening for a bit of a laugh. So the resources are both used at primary and secondary. It could be used in primary and secondary school level, and there are many of them. When promoting languages, obviously it's always really nice to invite somebody else into your classroom that can chat to your pupils and also your fellow teachers and also the management of your school about the usefulness of languages. And it could be universities, honorary consuls, businesses, obviously parents and alumni. So at Swansea University, for example, and I'm sure the other universities in Wales are very, very open to establish new partnerships and very close partnerships with schools. Universities provide masterclasses online. They provide day on campus experiences, and the universities can also connect you with a variety of speakers. We also have an industry panel, for example, for our modern languages translation and interpreting section, where we have reached out to employers all over the world that promote language learning and see the benefits of language learning. In Wales, we have the wonderful Marlis Höcher as the honorary consul for Germany and Switzerland in Wales. Marlis Höcher is also available to visit schools and to speak at events. And she is also in close collaboration with the other honorary consuls. So if that is someone that you are keen to invite, please reach out to them. We are aware that businesses also have an interest in speaking at schools. We are aware that Sanaco also provided one of the CPD sessions. They are able to come into schools and provide pep talks to pupils and also promote language learning through the eyes of a business woman or man. Something that other schools were also using are parents. If parents are working in international companies or their international parents working in Wales, that's also very, very useful to have, and also alumni. So at our languages event, and you see the picture of our recent languages day that took place last week on campus, Singleton campus, in a huge auditorium in the Tyson building. We also invited current students, and we usually invite also alumni, because it's very, very useful to have somebody just a little bit older than the pupils to talk to them about language learning and their journey, and also mention the challenges that they conquered on the way. At the Languages Day, our colleague Laura Jenkins and our colleague Tanya May used this story for their Spanish lesson, and it kind of reminded me that it's so important also to bring the background of the students and the pupils into language learning. It can be seen as rather abstract to learn a language that is spoken in the country where some of the pupils are never able really to visit. So it's always good to have a local connection. And this is a story that came to light about a year ago with the Newport Football Club, and they are using their new football kit in memory of bus children that came in the 30s to Wales. My colleagues used that story as the basis to promote languages, and it was really, really nice to see how Wales is connected with the world. So by promoting languages, we should bring international language into Wales, but we should also bring Wales to the world both ways. So as a result, they used the football kit, the shirt, to practice their Spanish on it, and this is a football kit is inspired by the Basque tradition. So you have a couple of examples of the pupils writing in Spanish, and this could be seen as quite a unique inspiration, because it's always very important to visualize what we are doing, to be able to display something, to have a product at the end that can be shown to parents, to senior management, and so on. So to create different kinds of visualizations and displays. And obviously this was a very, very useful template use for that. But it could also be a football, it could also be a suitcase or a plate of food, that images that pupils can fill with their own words of a language, and then also take it home, tell their parents about it and their other peers. Ariane, Lemonnier, our wonderful French colleague, and her CPD session was yesterday on how to bring in culture in the classroom as well. So it's worthwhile having a watch there as well. Used visualized visual poetry as part of their CPD course. And you can maybe spot that there are recipe books in French language, and pupils were asked to select a couple of words, I think 5 words in total or more, and to create visualizations across the page. And then to be able to justify which words they have taken, what is meaningful to them. So this is a really, really colorful and amazing initiative to combine something like an ordinary recipe book and make it into poetry and promote languages and learn languages that way. This was the input from the German group, and this is also an amazing method. They have produced their own buttons using emojis. So they are selecting German words, for example. They use the templates or have painted. You can see they were very talented in making their own pictures, and they created buttons, their own emojis using German words and an image. Again, a lovely idea again to visualize language. So in summary, looking at all those different resources and ideas, there are some top tips. So first tip is visualize. Make sure it is seen what you're doing when you're promoting language. Make sure there's a product that can be displayed and shown and something to be proud of. Make it a habit. Language promotion should not occur because there's a European Day of Languages, a day of European languages that way. But it should be something that is just natural added on. If you talk in science about a person, maybe mention where they are born, what languages they are speaking, or what international collaborations they've had, for example. So it shouldn't be an isolated area. It should be combined with many, many different other school subjects. Reach out if you need support, your local university, any organization or project that I've mentioned today is more than happy to help. And we are all kind of singing the same song, and we are all in the same mission of promoting languages and making more visual in Wales. Make use of the resources. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm not going to do that day because it takes so long now to do my own worksheets. There are lots of resources available, and hopefully you find the tips helpful, and there will be a page with the appropriate links. So please make use of them. Then make a connection. Now looking for any kind of local stories, for example, Newport and the Basque Country. So this is quite useful, maybe looking into the town trainings that's happening in Wales, any kind of stories, any international visitors coming, any connections to the world. This brings it a bit closer to heart. Participate in the events that any organization is doing. I think there's lots of Languages Day in planning for Swansea University, CPD events, but I'm sure there are lots of opportunities available by the consortia as well, and also other universities. And last but not least, it is important to celebrate. So celebrate, how can we celebrate? Obviously, this is a very recent input for celebration, the World Cup. And if you have followed Ariane's session yesterday, there was a really, really fascinating way of bringing the culture in relation to the football kits of the various Francophone countries. Obviously, use international happenings, international events that the pupils are really keen to know more about and connected to languages. Obviously, 2026 is the Men World Cup. 27 is the Women's World Cup. A wonderful opportunity to use all those kind of methods and games and activities again for that event. My favorite, Eurovision, you were smiling, Eurovision Song Contest is a fun event. It celebrates languages, it celebrates diversity, and this is, again, another way to celebrate singing in a different language, performing in a different language. So this could be an event taking place at the school. And not to forget the Tour de France and their plan to go through Wales next year. I think every French teacher must be over the moon for taking this opportunity to combine it with the French lessons. Yes. last but not least, something that was brought up by one of our industry panels, the recent meetings from British Council. Primary schools can apply to receive an International School Award. It's really worthwhile to check into this. It's a very prestigious award, and certainly language and language education are part of it. So please just take a look and see what is available. Now, I have included a list of quite a few resources. You can see the European Day of Languages, the MFL mentoring scheme and their resources. Then I have included the online library from the Institut Français Deutschstunde Portal, which is the portal from the Goethe Institute to provide German language materials. Then the Languages Gateway, the national one. Then also Twinkle has a lot of escape rooms free to download and lots of activities available for teachers. Roots into Languages now in Cardiff Metropolitan University have the toolkits for primary schools. And last but not least, the British Council School Award. This brings the end to my session. I'm going to stop there. Thank you so much, Hugh, for sharing and telling us what e-sgol is about and how you promote languages. And I'm just going to leave the floor open for a couple of questions if you want to use the chat. But I'm going to stop the recording now and saying thank you, diolch, bis dann.